etc. For Michael. So Michael doesn't have to keep going up, down, and he says to not. Yeah, just be careful. Don't die.
I'm done to fly.
Do you take Claire to Moon, by the way, if you just want to go out and
I have to wear moves. I mean, don't wear the rest. Just wear what you're wearing right now. I'm gonna take the shirt off.
We should have worn this.
Yeah, we're the
Why didn't you wear the basketball? Why did seriously? It's so good, by the way. Can I just comment on the? Those are nice too.
That is Garlic. Oh, let's go.
That is so
let's
good.
Go.
That is good. We're still talking. We're just hanging out.
It's on, right?
This is short.
Yeah, just keep talking into the mic.
Talk into the mic. So you want us to talk? Nick, how are you? Good morning. That was a test. That's not a call out. I really like Johnny Foreman and everything, but I just want to make sure that. Oh. Hey. Okay, Edward. Michael.
Let's go.
Yeah, talk.
1, 2, 3, test. Actually, that'd be close.
Michael Herbert Claney.
Test.
Michael Herbert Claney. Say Michael Herbert Claney.
Calvin.
So you have to go like right next to it.
Phineas.
Calvin Phineas Falls.
Test. 1, 2.
No. You Calvin, do not give us a test. 1, 2. I want to.
I'm saying,
Hello.
Give me like a. Give me a.
I'm enunciating his name, so we're gonna be like Michael Herbert Claney. Perfect.
Here you guys, I'm going to show you something. This is a wireless mic. It's going straight to the camera. So it's just, that's what that is, just so you know.
Okay. Cool. Okay. How close do you have to like speak?
Yeah, that's right. His palms are sweaty, knees wheezy, arms are heavy.
Spaghetti.
Palms spaghetti. And on the surface he looks nervous, but he's calm and ready to drop bombs because he keeps on forgetting. Okay, there we go.
Down, but he keeps on.
There we go. Good. Where did Edward go? Edward's just going to get up and do
We
it.
lost him.
Wait, could you hear?
Thumbs up. Oh,
You have to be closer to the mic. Here, come closer. See how close you have to be.
Yeah, hold on, so let's see.
Like right.
How about
Yeah, now you can do it. It's coming through.
Ben Cross?
You don't actually have to.
Okay, that works. Okay, so we don't have to be right in it.
So just like right here.
What about what if you stand right in front of like your reading thing?
Ben Cross will make you.
Michael Herbert.
Michael Herbert Delaney.
Calvin Phineas Foss.
Calvin Thomas.
No, Phineas.
Good Thomas.
Thomas. The TH is.
Are you good? You want to give it a
Do I just stand right here and everybody can hear?
That's Rogan.
Webster's Dictionary defines graduation.
No. First,
That's my opening.
Winston Churchill once said, right? Remember every convocation? Roman and Tony. That's nice.
Good. All right.
Okay, so Scott, if you're on back there, the
Yeah.
end is easy. The guys stand up and walk up.
Put on my gown.
There you go.
To do my whole speech that way. No shirt.
Take off the gown when you get up here.
How long is your
Like maybe 30 minutes, 35.
So the goal is to be.
It's no longer than 40 minutes. Don't worry.
See, I
I
think
can get it under an hour. If it gets to be an hour, I'll cut the last page out. I don't know how I'm gonna handle it. No, 6 minutes.
See, I feel like I have the long side of the kid.
7 minutes while laughing.
Oh,
Right. Because I have to stop. Like right? And I drag on.
Alright, get back to it.
You gotta pause. I have to read my speech.
That's what you said.
Pause for like
joke.
No, yesterday he was being serious. He's like, yeah, like, I think he was being serious.
Wait, so you could just like be right here and then just talk. Get a little closer. Alright.
Yeah.
If you have something you really want to call out, Michael Herbert.
Hello. Yeah. Michael Herbert.
Teacher, you're sitting over here, right?
Yes.
Last year, weren't they over here?
What's that? Yeah, Michael Herbert.
That'll become our new thing. This will be the new tradition.
Michael.
The new tradition will be sound checks. Our Michael Herbert Delaney.
All right. I'm gonna put my gown on. There you go.
10 o'clock, right? I have to take it.
Edward will be fine. He's good.
I
I wish there was a better way.
And so I sit down first and then get back up. That's the
You're gonna
plan.
get because yeah. And then you're gonna like.
And at the end, after
Miscalculated. I thought we were sitting there and nobody was seeing the shoes. Now we're sitting there too, and everyone was seeing the shoes.
No one will see your shoes because the piano box.
yeah,
No one will see that your shoes are a little casual. But no one's gonna see that. His shoes are a little casual.
Graduation attendance.
Don't worry about it. He's not wearing dress shoes. They're not nice shoes, Shuja. He's a little concerned about it.
They're nice.
He thinks they're nice, but they're not really for the occasion.
Stuart Hall socks on.
He does have Stuart Hall socks on.
I brought this stuff down here. Is that an okay place for it? Flying.
Okay, I'll be. Where's the? Okay.
Good morning, Dr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Farrell, Mr. Marquette, Ms. Marcella, faculty, staff, parents, friends, esteemed guests, and of course, my fellow classmates. My name is Michael Tellini, and it is truly an honor for me to be here today and welcome you to the 13th graduation of Stuart High School. Today, I'm proud to introduce the young men graduating the Stuart High School class of 2017 and to guide you through the ceremony. For those who've never attended a Stuart Hall graduation before, it is a special experience. Words cannot fully encapsulate the collective bonds formed over the past 4 years, nor the personal growth each one of these graduates has undertaken. Yet the stories you'll hear today will hopefully empower all of us to leave this ceremony with fuller hearts and a brighter outlook on life. Before I proceed further in introducing the class of 2017, we should take a moment to acknowledge all those who enabled our 4-year journey. To the parents, the teachers, and administration, and to everyone else, the coaches, the relatives, the benefactors, the board members, all others, thank you for your continued trust and dedication. We're all eternally grateful. Yet, nothing I can say can express our total gratitude, so I'll say no more, and instead the class will stand and applause to thank you. Just applaud and thank you. Now to my friends, the graduates. You guys can sit down. We made it, although it is a bit surprising that nobody skipped and is chilling at the beach right now. Because it's graduation, I can't help but reflect on our freshman biology classes with Mr. Helms, where we learned about Darwinian natural selection. We may have lost several classmates along the way to this day, but those of us standing here today truly exemplify survival of the fittest. It wasn't too long ago when we walked in the green gates for the first time as freshmen. We didn't know about ice cream in that way. We didn't know what Lunomath was. We certainly didn't know anything about girls. And we probably didn't want to, considering we chose a school for all dudes. However, we quickly began to learn. The academic dedication of this class was palpable from day one. And I'm pleased to inform you all today that this was one of Stuart Hall's most academically accomplished classes ever. Some other things that we learned, these include, but not limited to, how to have a good time camping, how to make flashcards in math class, how to shave someone's head, and to be fair, he lost in fantasy football, and after all the times we screwed up, how to hit that redemption shot. Despite our challenges at times, which we did have, we won dozens of championships, affected thousands of lives through community service, and built on the foundation of brotherhood here at the Hall. We inspire countless underclassmen to realize their own dreams and ambitions. The class of 2017 grew tremendously over the past 4 years, from naive, disoriented freshmen initially bound together through mutual awkwardness and laughing at that one guy who didn't know how many states there were. That's true. We developed into confident men of integrity, eager to tackle the world. This was a tight-knit class that went through high school, good times and bad, together. We befriended those older and younger and strove to be model knights of the Hall. For the class of 2017, Stuart Hall became the second home of many and the first home of many more. I invite you to listen to what we said today and join us, the class of 2017, as we enjoy the final moments of our high school careers together. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Anne-Marie Kritzarek. For the past 5 years, she has served as president of the four-school community here in San Francisco of these Sacred Heart schools. Her dedication in ensuring we fully realize our potential has been awe-striking. If you didn't already know, she pioneered the Costa Rica trip, believing in the power of immersion to build bonds. Additionally, she established the Launch Grant competition here at our school, a unique opportunity for entrepreneurial students. Our classrooms have undergone extreme facelifts through her work with the pedagogy of space. We're well into 1 year of being an international baccalaureate diploma program school, yet another of her initiatives. Finally, our graduating today, and not June 5th, is thanks to her idea. This is my 13th year of education here at Schools of Sacred Heart San Francisco, and I'm confident that Dr. K embodies all aspects of the 5 goals, galvanizing our school to be the best we can collectively be. I'm pleased to welcome to the podium the ambitious head of the operation, Dr. Anne-Marie Kritzarek.
Good morning and welcome. At this time, we'll take an opportunity to invoke the Holy Spirit among us, to ask for the blessings not only on this event but on these men. I'd like to start, as a mother of 3 sons, with a blessing and a prayer directed from parents to sons. So I invite all the parents who are here to stand and offer this prayer for these young men with me. So can I have the parents please stand? Prayer for my son. Lord, I'm praying for my boy today. Thank you for giving him to me and the privilege of being his parent. I've got some things in my heart, and I'm bringing these requests to you. Please keep him safe. Protect him from physical danger, emotional harm, and spiritual attacks. Put your angels around him so that he is always sheltered in your care. Guard his mind, his eyes, and his steps. Help him make wise choices. Give him courage to choose paths that will lead to a long life, to joy, and to your purposes for him. Give him eyes to see consequences to his actions well ahead of time, so he can avoid temptation and pursue what is good. May he be a man of character. Help him to be honest, kind, generous, and unselfish. May he be trustworthy and resilient, be willing to work hard and ready to take responsibility for his decisions. Give him the ability to see the best in people and circumstances and to find strength in the face of adversity. Surround him with good people. Provide friends who encourage him, understand him, and have a positive influence on him. Help him to walk away from relationships that tear down his self-worth or cause him to make poor choices. Give him mentors, people he can trust, those he can emulate. He needs godly role models, and I ask you to provide them for him. Give my son a heart for you. I know that he'll make mistakes and he'll have struggles. This is part of life, and part of it will prepare him for adulthood. But through these experiences, would you speak to him and show him that you are there for him? May he learn to love you in the quiet and seek your peace in the midst of a noisy world. Help him to see you in the everyday moments of his life. I commit this young man to you. There is so much I can't control now that he's this age, but I know I can always come to you with my requests, and I can replenish my worries to you. I thank you for peace and freedom from fear, because you, perfect love, casts out all fear. I stand on your promise that you will complete the good work that you have started in my son, and you will always love this beautiful gift you've given me, even more than I ever could. Amen. Now, if you'd like to blow your son a little kiss, then let's do it right now. Thank you. And our second request for blessings and sending forth, I've asked the faculty and all members of the staff and administration who are here, if you would please stand. Lord God, we ask for you, your almighty hand, to be upon all those who graduate today. Bless their lives from this day on with goodness and love. Help them to stay true to their dreams and to use their gifts wisely and to walk into the future with faith, hope, and great sacred love. Amen. Thank you.
It has long been the tradition that the school selects a class valedictorian. Now I'd like to acknowledge to an unnamed member of the audience who lost a sizable bet. But this year we have co-valedictorians Calvin Foss and Mitchell Mariama. Fun fact, we're probably the only school in the universe where both co-valedictorians have girlfriends. Single-sex education, go figure. I'm pleased to first introduce Mitchell Mariama. From the first few weeks of school, our class knew that Mitchell was destined for this title. Affectionately called Mitch, by his peers, his innate ability to problem solve propelled him above the competition, particularly in mathematics. Mitch has a rare ability, especially for high school students, to see the big picture. In fact, he once contributed to an in-class discussion on philosophy with an analogy to a type of function. Moments such as these, blended with his down-to-earth, inviting personality, shed light on this young man's extraordinary method of thinking. Unlike a recent valedictorian a couple years back, he's far from a saint. His optimism can be felt on Students in Action, which he leads, the varsity basketball team, the tennis team, National Honor Society, the Ecology and Conservation Elective, Student Council, and in the seemingly infinite list of activities he involves himself in. Mitch's natural leadership by example, both in the classroom and extracurriculars, made him a role model for so many students at Stuart Hall. Without further ado, co-valedictorian Mitchell Mariama.
Morning, everyone. Can you guys all hear me? Yeah. All right. It's 7:30 in the morning, and I'm standing outside until I hear a click, which allows me to open the door. I walk into the lobby and see Ryan manning the door and Mr. Quitone sipping coffee behind him. To my left, up the stairs, I see Miss McGarva walking, followed by Jack Merrigan, who is rushing to shove his trachea in his locker. I walk into the courtyard and pass Dr. Roos practicing Tai Chi while Leon and Patrick are playing on the piano and guitar. I make a quick detour into the Columbus room and see Mr. Campos peering over everyone as Jack and Dylan sit in the middle talking with each other. As I head out to class, I give one final wave to Darnay as he walks through the front gates and prepare for my day. This is my home. Good morning, Dr. Great-Tart, Ms. Parcella, Ms. Marquette, Mr. Farrell, faculty, parents, siblings, and my fellow peers. My name is Mitchell Mariama, and it's an honor and privilege to be the co-valedictorian of this gifted and talented graduating class. Stuart Hall is a special school, and I can't even begin to describe how fortunate I was to become here. Even though I feel obligated to talk about academics, just focusing on that one area doesn't showcase what Stuart Hall education is truly about, creating well-rounded, balanced men. Of course, before we talk about this transformation, I should probably talk about the school itself. For starters, I went to a big public middle school in Burlingame called BIS, where I lived. In 8th grade, as we all did, I was looking around for high schools that I thought I would enjoy and fit in with. Looking for a school with strong academics and athletics was a necessity for me. Stuart Hall wasn't even on my radar until my neighbor George introduced me to the school. After some careful investigation, I quickly could tell Stuart Hall met all my requirements of strong academics and athletics. But it wasn't until I stepped onto the campus that I realized I was looking for more. Those first couple of minutes I walked into school weren't as pretty or calm as they are now. My first day I was stressed, I was nervous about every little detail, worried that I would be behind academics or wearing the wrong color polo. I rushed from class to class, meekly trying to fit in. I was shy and not really sure what to make of this new high school experience. From the media, you can tell high school is a dog-eat-dog world, but Stuart Hall was different. There was a calming presence that brought people together. Sitting in the old library in the back corner, tucked away from Miss Walker's view, or walking down to Whole Foods together, Stuart Hall united people, promoting compassion and love rather than competition and strife. I have found this togetherness and community to be what separates Stuart Hall from other schools. It is something that can't be expressed numerically or represented by a grade. It's something more than just a school and beyond the classroom. Stuart Hall has transcended those labels to become a more personal one, a family. Beyond our immediate community, I was fortunate enough to serve food and converse with patients at an Alzheimer's unit and recognize how lucky I was. These patients, who are often shunned and ostracized in society, remain tucked away in these hospitals, forgotten by a world driven by our technology and youth. And the small things we take for granted, the ability to walk outside or go to the bathroom by ourselves, or even just to remember what we observe in the morning, suddenly become hidden treasures and moments of hope for these patients. Stuart Hall provides us the time and space to recognize these moments and these people, and allows us to directly help and serve one another and carry out the memories and teachings to society. In addition for being present and growing our communities in the outside community, we grew our relationships with each other. During times of distress, we rally around our brothers to help each other when we fall. A team, a unit, a family, we all come together to create powerful healing forces that affect each and every one of us in ways we cannot begin to yet comprehend. Brothers of one big family, that's what Stuart Hall has become for all of us. Members of another family that collect already amazing individuals, but somehow transforms each and every one into men who want to be altruistic and courageous. The connections we build at Stuart Hall are meant to last more than in high school, but in college and beyond. We learn what it means to be a man of the hall, a person of courage and integrity. When we leave the green gates as graduates, we proudly know we have had the best possible education and support system. As alumni, we will carry on the teachings of the hall and find our families wherever we go. I realize that school is more than just about grades or friends or where you go to college. Academics were a big part of my life here at Stuart Hall, but so were the moments of laughter and tears. It's about relationships, bonds that transcend time and effort. Stuart Hall was all of that, and then some. And at 2:15, I see Mike and Andrew packing up their notebooks and hurry off to their buses for practice. All around me, people are running back and forth to their lockers, hurrying to rush home. I give Mr. Harrington a nod of goodbye as I walk past the Learning Commons and give a string of "have a nice weekends" to my friends and various teachers running up the stairs. Mr. Kahn casually strolls through the hallway picking up trash, keeping the school as pristine as it started. I see Coach Jay giving Owen and Giggy some dance lessons, while Mr. Marquette and Mr. Farrell patrol the courtyard. I walk towards the green gates and look back one more time. This is my home. Thank you.
As previously mentioned, sharing the title of valedictorian is Calvin Foss, a witty fellow with a propensity for physics and an appreciation for border collies. Calvin excelled not only in the varsity soccer team, but also served as student body director of finance, participated in SIA, Partners in Health, and pretty much every other student organization at Stuart Hall. If you've ever talked to him, you know that he's wicked smart and won't back down in an argument. A word to the supposedly wise: if you've ever argued with Calvin, you were probably wrong. He's excellent with numbers and calculations, except for that one time he miscalculated a projectile motion problem involving a fist-sized object. I think it's safe to say that his jaw-dropping confidence got the best of him that one. People around campus know Cal for his flamboyant style, both in taste and personality. Few valedictorians probably share his love of fresh music, as he calls it, and not many more people enjoy his love of music at all. In all seriousness, if Calvin was a restaurant, he'd be Jack in the Box. He gets up all night, mastering that chi-square test for AP statistics, searching for a way to both prove his view of literature and simultaneously diss his teacher on an English paper. Nobody would question the fact that he earned the distinguished honor of valedictorian, as his work ethic is unmatched. A goal-driven person, he stood out to be the top of his class and achieved the feat. Without further ado, I'd like to invite a close friend, a student, a teacher, a physicist, a poet, an athlete, a mathematician, a father, I'm just kidding, a workhorse and co-valedictorian for the class of 2017 to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Calvin Foss.
Wow, thank you, Michael. All right. As our fellow classmate, Stelios Gigi Andrews once said, "Now I know why no one talks about senior retreat. It's a bunch of guys sitting in a room, crying and listening to Adele." And as a slightly less famous man, world-renowned astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson once said, "Passion is what gets you through the hardest times that might otherwise make men weak, or make you give up." So while we sat in that room together, bawling about our time together in high school and leaving for college, I couldn't help but feel a passion in the room colored by both joy and sadness. While all our eyes were filled with tears, I didn't see any weakness in that room. I saw strong men who had gone through 4 challenging years together, realizing that their time together was drawing to a close. And we have undoubtedly learned a tremendous amount through these 4 years with our amazing teachers, administrators, coaches, and now we have to learn how to move on to the next step of our lives, beyond the green gates. And indeed, we have learned many lessons in these halls, life lessons that are sometimes difficult to categorize. Take, for example, sprawling out on Mr. Helms' couch before hearing him say that he picked it up off the street from outside a frat house. Ask before you do. Or embarking on an overnight camping trip in the woods with your whole school. Be responsible with your actions. Or hearing the 3 words, "Go to the dean." Respect everyone. Or learning that it's better to keep your mouth shut than to have it shut for you. Make good choices. For those of you who don't understand these references, please pardon the inside jokes. My classmates, or shall I say my brothers, are with me today laughing because we know that these lessons were very hard, but we had to live through them and learn from them. While our class has lost and gained friends and close classmates along the way, I can attest to the fact that every guy graduating with our class of 2017 has had to work countless hours and learn many lessons to get to this final ceremony. Not only have we learned how to comport ourselves as gentlemen with respect, courage, and a sense of justice in the classroom, we have also taken our learning onto the athletic fields and into our community of San Francisco and beyond. Our school trips to Mexico, New Orleans, and especially Costa Rica opened our eyes to the world around us, a world which we are now stepping into as prepared young men. We learned that masculine stereotypes don't define us, or we wouldn't have cried our eyes out reading our families' letters at their retreat. I see our class as a colorful array of flowers of all different shapes and sizes, which come together to make one stunning picture. This picture encapsulates our differences, but highlights how we work together as strong, capable men filled with the passion to persevere. So I end this speech by acknowledging that we are in a critical time, perhaps best described as a Kairos time. Thank you, Mr. O'Connor. Everything in our lives is about to change, and the only way to endure this emotionally charged time is to hold on to our passion for life. We take all these lessons that we have learned, and we move confidently into our future as strong men who will survive and thrive in these hardest of times, with our passion driving us and our relationships sustaining us. Thank you so much.
The next speaker is most certainly the man behind the curtain. Mr. Kahn has been a member of the community for 13 years at Stuart Hall as admissions director and formerly a math teacher. Like our class, he'll be moving on to a new school next year. The brotherhood you've heard about so far could not have been possible without his decisions as head of admissions. He's been the general manager of the team, and today shows that he used his draft picks well. He even made a couple mid-season acquisitions, notably giving us Harry Doyle. As an assistant basketball coach to the varsity team, he has embodied the defining characteristic of teachers here at the Hall, befriending countless students over the years. He'll be missed at Stuart Hall. His legacy will continue to guide the school for decades. It's an honor to invite up a fellow member of the Green and longtime Knight of the Hall, Mr. Shuja Khan.
I can't get like weepy before I start, right? Let me start by saying welcome to the parents, grandparents, honored guests, faculty, Mr. Farrell, Mr. Marquette, Dr. Director, Ms. Marcella, and of course, the graduating class. There's a moment in the movie Knock Up when Seth Rogen and his dad are talking about fatherhood. And his dad tells him that he, Seth Rogen, is the best thing that ever happened to him. And Seth is visibly flabbergasted. He's like, me? I'm the best thing that ever happened to you. That just makes me feel bad for you. And I felt kind of the same way Mr. Farrell told me that I was going to speak at graduation. And it's not because I don't have interesting things to say, not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty heavy on knowledge. The problem is I'm a little light on wisdom, which is to say I have facts but not truth. That being the case, I go where I always go when I need help, where we all go for being honest with ourselves. And I popped open my laptop and I Googled wisdom. And Google didn't disappoint. Google tells me that integrity matters, and it does. Except here's the thing, it also doesn't. When my 7-year-old son comes to me with a drawing of a turtle, I tell him it's amazing, even though it looks like a blue turd. And when he tells me I'm looking at it upside down, I explain that I'm taller than him, so our perspectives are different, and then I smile and move past it. Google also tells me that if you fail at something, you should keep at it until you succeed. Also good advice, but also not true. It would take me a long time to list for you all the things that I failed at, that I tried, failed at, and immediately quit doing. I took guitar lessons for a year, and that stupid Green Day graduation song, the one you're going to hear 1,000 times this time of year, the one that I didn't know when I wrote this, they played at baccalaureate mass last night. And it is a terrible song. If you like it, just know that you're a bad person. It's okay. You can hang out with Coach Jay and listen to Nickelback in the parking lot later. Coach Jay loves Nickelback. The point is, when I played it, it sounded like my guitar was out of tune. So I just decided that playing music wasn't that important to me, and I quit. Because that's what I do. I either win at games or I quit them because they are unfair. You guys will quit so many things in your life that 20 years from now, when someone calls you a quitter, you'll only be able to shrug your shoulders and say, yeah, but aren't we all? In many ways, your life will be defined by the few things you don't quit, the few things you persevere through endless failure to achieve, like an education, like partnership, like starting a business or choosing a profession, like fatherhood, like fighting tooth and nail to be just good enough at your job to keep a good school open. So where does this leave us? Sadly, I don't know, but that's okay, because this makes it a good opportunity for reflection. And in the end, that's all today is. Graduation is only meaningful as an opportunity to reflect on what you've done and what's to come, on who you are and who you're trying to be. Without that reflection, it's just another day. And I'm right here with you guys. For those of you that have been here since kindergarten, my first year was your first year. And like you, I'm also leaving. So this is the chance for me to reflect, not just for your sake, but for my own. As I attempted to do that, to think about the things that I will pack in my bags and take with me when I leave here, there was one thing I kept coming back to, one thing that I know for sure. And that's what I wanted to offer as my reflection to you guys. Counter to what they will tell you in classes at college, you should plagiarize. You should plagiarize your life. Plagiarize from the people around you, steal from them the things they do well, and use that to turn yourself into the person that you want to be. I've been at Stuart Hall for a long time. There's a lot of things I've stolen from a lot of people, some of whom aren't even here anymore. I'll give you a small sample. Don't freak out, I'm not going to mention everyone. Mr. Buckley has me on a tight 5-minute watch. He's got a sniper ready to take me out if I get long-winded. So you know I got like 2 pages left, we're all good. So believe it or not, Mr. Farrell used to be a beloved English teacher here. He took on the job of the head of school when the school needed him to, even though that's a position that naturally kept him at a distance from the kids. Many of you guys are a little afraid of Mr. Farrell. And he accepts that and does his job anyway. From him, I will steal that you should always do your job well and not let anything stand in the way of that. From Miss Whalen, I will steal that it's possible to be unfairly kind to everyone always. Now, I'm never going to be that person, but it is comforting though it's possible in theory. From Mr. Marquette, I will steal a life full of stories. You should have a story for everything and everyone, something funny and illuminating and likely about golf. But Mr. Luna, I will steal that when things don't make sense to you, you can just smile and say, boy, I'll tell you, it's a crazy world. And just keep on trucking. As long as you smile wide, no one will bat an eye. From Miss C, I will steal grace under difficult circumstances. From Mr. O'Connor, I will steal that if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and actually do the work, you can kind of get away with being a pain in the butt. Just kind of. From Mr. Buckley, I will steal that if you always, always, always do the right thing, to the point where it's actually annoying, you can kind of get away with being a pain in the butt. From Mr. Harrington, I will steal limitless capacity. There's time in the day for everything and anything and some left over too. From Ms. Lyons, I will steal openness. You don't have to keep all your stories hidden all the time. It's okay to talk to people and let them in. I hope she'll steal from me that there's something dangerous and cool about the occasional brooding silence. From Ms. Hall, I will steal that it's okay to laugh at yourself. In fact, it's encouraged and endearing. From Mac G, a good cookie goes a long way. I'd like to point out here for the juniors in the room, there's never been a female faculty speaker, so I'll just leave that right there for you. From Mr. Guerrero, I will steal a lesson most valuable. Never take credit for anything. Whatever success you have, even when everyone in the world knows it's because you're the best college counselor in the state of California, you go ahead and deflect it to someone else. Credit is not yours to bear, only burdens. From Mr. Vasquez, I will steal the ability to let a moment land. Whether something is meaningful or boring or hokey or funny or sad, you don't have to control it and you don't have to hide from it, you can just let it land. From Mr. Woodard, I will steal, oh, I knew I forgot something, this says film later. I'm sorry, Dad. Full disclosure, that was my wife's least favorite joke. She read the speech and physically cringed, but it was my favorite, so it was my favorite joke for you. From Mr. Krautkramer, I will steal the ability to overcome your body's limitations. When your face says it can't grow a mustache, you say, screw you, face. And you grow a wimpy one anyway. A little public speaking advice. If at the end of the speech, and we're very close to the end, the crowd knows no more about you personally than they did at the beginning, you fail to connect. So here's some information about me. I grew up without a dad. I had a mom who spoke 6 languages, but English wasn't one of them. Like a lot of immigrant parents, she didn't want me to learn the languages she knew. She wanted me to speak English exclusively. So to this day, I can speak to my mom only in halting, awkward phrases. I learned how to be a man, how to be an adult, a friend, and a father here at Stuart Hall. And it's fitting that we're in the gym right now, because I plagiarized the most valuable lessons right here from the most important non-white person in my life. So I leave you with the Tao of Charlie. It's okay to swear as long as you're good at it. It's okay to dance as long as you're terrible at it. As you get older, you should threaten to fight people more. You know they'll never take you up on it, and it makes you look tough. If you lend a friend money, you should never ask for it back. Your capacity to change will serve you well. Charlie has always been the same guy, but the words he uses, the way he works with the kids, the way he carries himself, those outward aspects of his personality change with the world that changes around him. Long-term success demands that. To this day, Charlie has no idea what the internet is. Not a single clue, but he does a reasonable impression of somebody who might. Your connections with people are the only currency that matters. If you worry about how much money you have, you will always feel poor. If you worry about how much power you have, you will always feel weak. If you worry about how smart you are, you will always feel stupid. If you worry about how many people you can make better, you will feel complete. In my life, when I hit difficulty, I will consider what would Charlie do, and then I'll do my best to do that. And I encourage you guys to find your own Charlies, your own Kellys and Kens, Tonys and Norms, Tristans and Taylors, maybe even your own Nats, and do the same. Thank you.
The class of 2017 has also nominated a student speaker to share his reflections on the past 4 years. This year, Edward Emery will share some words on behalf of the class. He's modest about his accomplishments. For example, most of us had no idea about the painting he was working on that was on display last night at Baccalaureate, or the claymation video he made for his Justice Project. Rare for any student, Edward could have been selected for almost all of the senior class superlatives, aka most likelies, including President, Fortune 500 CEO, comedian, and we can't forget, best dressed. However, to be fair to the other students, he was only allowed one spot, most likely to be an artist. It was not because his drawings and paintings of societal commentaries are more eye-grabbing and thought-provoking than his leadership skills, comedic abilities, clothing style, or anything else. No, it's because everything that Ed does could be called art. He's just that impressive individual. I'm pleased to welcome Edward to the stage to paint yet another picture, this time a depiction of how our class spent these last 4 years. Edward Emery.
Sasha's best dressed, but I was annoyed when I learned that we all, except John Carlo, had to wear dark suits. Because, first off, I didn't own this, but I do own a plaid suit, a seersucker suit, and most of a mariachi outfit. And learning I wouldn't be wearing any of those today was rather crushing. So, with that, good morning. Thank you all for being here. Dr. Kritzark, administrators, friends, family, faculty, and fellow graduates. I was thrilled to learn that I was chosen. When I first did, a few thoughts immediately crossed my mind, and I think it's great that Mike introduced me because I immediately thought back to this time last year when student government elections were being held, and Mike was the incumbent student body president, set to run for re-election unopposed, and I was rather bored. I had been reflecting on the fact that senior year was approaching, and I wasn't really satisfied with my involvement in the school. And I figured a student government would be a good natural way to get involved. And I knew it would have been smart to start small and get familiar with what goes on, but that's not fun. So I decided to, about a week out, run against Mike. And I wasn't just doing it to be a thorn in his side. I did see a legitimate plan to win. I knew that because the seniors did not vote, it was just our junior class and the underclassmen voting, and the underclassmen made up the majority. And I figured if I had the better speech, they would not know that I should not be the student body president. Nor did I want to be, even. And I told this to a friend who was a sophomore at the time, and he's like, actually, that's scary, you could win. I was like, I know, right? That's bad. But we ran. Luckily, our school is a lot of smart kids, and I lost in a landslide, but, and Mike's done a great job ever since, look at him. Anyway, that's immediately what I thought about. Then second was, I was thrilled to be chosen for this role because I really like this role because, while I'm not a bad student, I do think it's great that there's a spot at graduation for someone who's not necessarily a valedictorian or a student body president. And it's just a big sign of trust on behalf of my classmates and the faculty to let me do this. And that's basically my job, is conveying to you all who have made, I think, really big investments in time and resources, just how awesome of a school and a class this is. There's 44 guys up here. We started with about 70. So they may take someone off before I'm even done talking. So you guys should probably link arms, or I don't know. But if you're sending your kid to one of the most selective and best private schools in the Bay Area, you'd hope that they become more charismatic, wiser, learn lots of big words. And I can say without a doubt that my time here has been intellectually remunerative as well as morally salubrious. And If you don't know what that means, ask your kid. You would also hope that the teachers are enthusiastic and knowledgeable about what they do, and that is true here to excess. Every teacher here could be doing what they do probably at the college level, or could be dedicating their time to something completely separate from teaching, which is an option I know we make them consider. And so many of our lessons are non-academic, they're just lessons in morality and being a good, composed human being. And when I try to think of anecdotes to share, I couldn't, not because there were so few, but because there were too many to choose from. So I just picked one. And this was earlier in the year with, we were in Dr. O'Connor's class. We have a lot of them. And they're not like the sick type, they're just nerds. But Mr. O'Connor teaches justice, which is a mandatory class that every senior takes. This was very early in the year, and I remember we had been doing something that merited him getting upset at us. And this was surprising because I had never seen him upset. I'd known him for 3 years, never seen him angry. And it was this bizarre confusion where you've never seen someone angry for so long that when you do, it takes a few minutes to realize they're not being sarcastic. And we were sitting in a half circle, he was in the middle, and as he's scolding us, he's viciously scanning to ensure he makes eye contact with everyone. And by the time he's nearing me, I realized he's serious, first off, he's actually upset. And I'm about to compose myself when he's nearing whoever's next to me. And I hear him say, okay, you're the leadership of the school, be mature, so you better check yourself. And that's when my thumb started digging into Jacob's leg, and Jacob's thumb started digging into my shoulder. Because we knew that if he locked eyes with me, while at the same time following that up with, before you wreck yourself, there was no physical way I could contain my reaction to being scolded by a 55-year-old bald guy with an Ice Cube lyric. And I see he's turning towards me, and I hear him say, before you, and I'm like, please don't do it, please don't do it. And I'm just ready to laugh so I can get sent out. And he locks eyes with me and then says, do something irresponsible. And it was just this wave of relief that washed over that class that he does not know what NWA is, which is good. But through conversation with him throughout the year and many more scenarios like that, I've learned that there are very, very few things where it actually helps to raise your voice and get angry. And we did see him angry many more times later in the year once we actually had class with him. When we were freshmen, he actually had a full head of hair. But I stressed as a, no, he didn't. He wore a toupee. But as freshmen, we struggled to find our footing. I think a lot of us had to adapt to the all-boys environment, and the obvious step up that high school is in terms of accountability for your own work. Sophomore year, we were not quite ready to be the leaders of the school, but we were cocky enough to think we were. And then at that point, we're also just learning that you have to ask for help if you want to get anywhere. Junior year, I think we found our identity as a class after going on the retreat, but at that time, we're also looking forward. We realized that there's something past all of this. And then there's this year. It's been no less tumultuous than the rest, but I think we know each other better than ever. We've had struggles and victories, but every day has not been great. Every day has not been fun or exciting, but every day has been worth it. And as I near this day, I've found myself returning to just the same sense of sheer awe that I was so fortunate to be part of this school with this class. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge a few people before I step down. First off, I think there are a few people who have had so direct a role in shaping the identity of the school as Mr. Khan. It's only gotten more and more competitive each year. I'm glad I got in when I did, and it'll be really sad to see him go. Everyone here will miss him. I will miss him. I was planning on missing him because I also don't intend on being here next year. That would be bad if I was. So that's the first group, the people who have sort of gotten us here. The second group is the people who kept us here. Mr. Farrell and Mr. Marquette, Big T and Ray Ray, as I never called them to their face. This class has had a lot of highs and lows. Some of the lows are a result of the highs. And that's why I didn't give you a full copy of my speech before this. It's just bullet points. But they have worked tirelessly to ensure that every day we left as better people than we started. And that's no small task, especially when there's 3 other classes to deal with. And lastly is the group that's helping us leave. It is no small privilege to look at a college education as something that's taken for granted, and we could not do it without the tireless effort of Mr. Guerrero and Ms. Whalen. The amount of work that they do hands-on to ensure we have somewhere to go in the fall is incredible, and it's nothing compared to what they do behind the scenes. Mr. Guerrero is a nice person, but Ms. Whalen is actually the nicest person on the planet. And it'd be fine if it's just a fact. She is. And we have her here trying to get us into school, which is amazing. So, this is not a regular high school, as anyone who has spent time here can tell you, but I wish it was, because if it was normal for classes to be this close and for teachers to be as good as ours are, this world would be a drastically different and drastically better place. Thank you.
He is right, it is all bullet points. If you haven't figured it out yet, there are many traditions here at the hall. Another one is an artistic performance from one of our very own graduates. This year's artistic performer is Leon Tsai. He's a little high of that. He's known for his plethora of verbiage and colloquialisms and lacks no innuit. I don't even know what that means. He's a verbose, cultured, eclectic, and unbeknownst to the proletariat, he is opposed to anti-disestablishmentarianism. Moreover, he speaks with characteristic verisimilitude. While his academic dialogue may be difficult to understand at times, his music speaks for itself. I'm pleased to welcome the harmonious sounds of Mr. Tsai to our ceremony. As the end of this chapter draws near, there's only one man left to speak. He's the head of school here at Stuart High School and often graces us with his remarks. Indeed, well into our adult age, I'm sure all the graduates will remember the story Mr. Farrell tells each year about the elephants, or the one about the characteristics Stanford's psychology department found that people look for in a leader. Above all, however, I'm blessed to remember one of his favorite quotations deriving from Plato. It goes something like this: "Everyone you meet is fighting 100 battles you know nothing about, so be kind." We all fought difficult battles in high school, most of which we did not hear about today. Mr. Farrell has helped members of this class through experiences that no man, let alone an 18-year-old, should ever have to go through. Be kind. That is the message. And while at times we students may not have always seen eye to eye with the power-holding entity, as usually the case with adolescents, parents probably know what I'm talking about, at the end of the day, we are all united by our common love for Stuart High School. And please welcome to the stage the leader of our community, Mr. Tony Farrell.
Thank you, Michael. Before I begin, we will acknowledge the recipients of the following awards that we grant at commencement. The Stuart Hall High School Alumni Award for Service. The Stuart Hall High School Alumni Award is presented to the graduating senior who best exemplifies the spirit of service as defined in the goals and criteria of Sacred Heart education. Each of our graduates was exceptional in some way in regard to service. And those who attended last night's baccalaureate had an opportunity to hear from 3 of the students as they articulated the ethos of service they have developed. The young man I am about to introduce has quietly and deeply modeled his virtue by serving as hospitality at a local hospital, making sure that visitors and patients were treated with warmth and care in a time of crisis. This year, we recognize Jake New with the Alumni Award for Service. The Janet Erskine Stewart Award. The faculty and administration of Stuart Hall High School honor a graduate who has modeled the goal of striving for personal growth. The founding family of this award has gently nudged me to consider it as an award for someone who grew, who overcame challenges, who found their strengths and used them in the service of the school, and who also personally caused a few gray hairs for me in the process. This student covered all of those except one. He never caused a gray hair to me or to anyone as he maximized his talents in the service of the school. I am pleased to recognize Jack Merrigan with the Janet Erskine Stewart Award. The James Rowcliffe Kessler Award. In honor and loving memory of James Rowcliffe Kessler, class of 2009, Stuart Hall High School recognizes a graduate who found, developed, and shared his voice in the visual, performing, or written arts. When diagnosed with cancer, James chose to live the final year of his life among us at Stuart Hall, and we watched firsthand as he continued to share his very best with us, even as he suffered and battled his cancer. Our adult community continues to be inspired by a poem that James composed in elementary school. Be the wind chime. Let the wind blow through you. Turn storm into song. We continue to miss James very much. His story lives on in his Lord, and I'm Thrilled to also, if I could acknowledge Jean. So James's mother has flown in from Canada for today. Jean is, where is Jean? Jean is right here. So Jean, thanks for coming back. Much can be said about the recipient of this year's award, though I will rely more simply on a quote from our dean, Ren Marquette, who said, "In all of my years in education, I have never seen a high school student grow more through his participation in theater than this young man." The recipient of this year's James Rocliffe Kessler Award is Robert Santos. The St. Rose Philippine Duchesne Award. Members of the faculty in the graduating class of Stuart Hall High School honored one. It's okay. It's a good award. Honor one student who most clearly models the goals and criteria of the Schools of the Sacred Heart and his commitment to spiritual, academic, and personal growth. This award is voted upon by seniors and faculty, and this young man has modeled commitment to growth, commitment to maximum effort, and commitment to our values as a school. There's a voting component to this award, both from the students and faculty, and I've never encountered a more overwhelming count for a student for this award. And there's also kind of an interesting detail. The recipient of this award a few years ago, 2 years ago, Will Hackle, who's here. Will, I saw it. Yes, very handsome. Yes. Will is at Gonzaga. And then last year's recipient, Julian Moreno, happened to also, is Julian, did I see Julian? Julian? Thank you for not wearing any Lakers gear, Julian. Julian also went to Gonzaga. Gonzaga seems to know something. In May, this individual also put his deposit down for Gonzaga. Patrick, you're one of the finest gentlemen we've ever had at this school. I am proud to call forth Patrick Dilworth to receive the Duchesne Award for the class of 2017. Now, it's a practice at our school that we engage in something called acknowledgments when we gather in a manner such as this. In chapel, in assemblies, students and faculty stand up and acknowledge a fellow classmate or colleague for a kind or generous act. This morning, we will also perform a version of this practice, though this time the acknowledged would please stand when recognized. First, I wish to acknowledge so many of you whom I first met when I was reading admissions files and essays about grandparents and the special impact that they made on their grandsons' lives. Grandparents, would you please stand so that we can acknowledge you? Now, we live in an era of helicopter parents that hover over every move. And then there are lawnmower parents that clear the path through the brambles so their children never find a stray weed on their path. And now, there are even drone parents that launch bombing strikes from their keyboards in the dead of night. However, for these 4 years, I can speak to a partnership with our parents nothing like these phenomena, and these parents deserve credit for that and for all the time, energy, and resources to get these young men to this moment. So parents and guardians, please stand so that we may acknowledge you on this special day. As Shuja mentioned earlier, I've had this unique experience where I worked side by side with many of the faculty and staff, and now I have the pleasure of serving them in this capacity as head of school. And gentlemen, you know your teachers give so much of themselves to help you get here. Our namesake, Janet Erskine Stuart, stated over 100 years ago that teachers must have to do things raw and unfinished and unpolished. We sketch a plan, but never see the crowning of the edifice. So we remember it is much better to begin a great work than to finish a small one. Our education is not meant to turn children out small and finished, but seriously begun on a wide basis. Faculty, will you please stand and be acknowledged for your work in this capacity? There's one more group to recognize, graduates of Stuart Hall High School. Welcome home. It is so good to see you. Please stand so that we can recognize you. Please, all alums. That's nice. Tal standing twice. I like that. That's very good. Gentlemen of the class of 2017, earlier this week, I asked a number of you for some feedback about what I might say as my last words to your class. And overwhelmingly, you requested that there be few words, period. For what it is worth, this will be my shortest graduation speech. You can also thank Michael Tellini, who used the platonic kindness quote. Thank goodness I saw that ahead of time. Whopped that out. Also be sure to give a shout to Dr. Krate Sarek, who on any number of occasions has gracefully, she does say it very gracefully and kindly, something along the lines of, Tony, you know those thoughts that run through your head? Give a try at just saying maybe 10% of them. Was it supposed to be that funny, Scott? As I reflect on your last few weeks here, I feel quite grateful to have witnessed you all at moments when you've been at your best. Your lunch play date with the kindergartners, seeing what kind of warm and tender and wonderful big brother figures you can be. Your lunch with our elderly nuns down at the retirement facility, seeing you engaged in interaction with these octogenarians and feeling the pulse in the room filled with vigor because of the way you animated each other. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in his letter to Birmingham Jail, spoke directly to this idea that what we bring forth directly impacts how others respond to us, though he does so in the inverse. His quote is, "In a real sense, all life is interrelated. All men are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. I can never be what I ought to be until you are who you ought to be. And you never can be who you ought to be until I am who I ought to be." The beauty of your efforts the last few days is that you inverted the phrasing. You brought who you ought to be to others, allowing them to be closer to who they ought to be. Now, certainly King's inverse holds true. When you've experienced moments when you were not who you ought to be, you also experience others similarly being not who they ought to be. Now, there are many uncomfortable and difficult conversations that one must have in a role as head of school. And there are some days I got the sense that some of you were trying to make me have them all in one day. But the last few weeks present to me quite clearly that you all are learning from those moments and growing from those moments. So many of you have developed in so many positive ways. Think of the boy you were when you started here. I promise you, that boy would look up to you now. So as you live toward whom you want to be, you will still encounter those who aren't in a place to be who they ought to be yet. It's not easy to encounter these people, and they require a great deal of patience. So let's remember the quote that Michael already mentioned. Let's be less preoccupied with our own drama. Remember that other people have drama too. Author Ian McLaren put a spin on it that I paraphrase, that this man beside us also has a hard fight with an unfavoring world, with strong temptations, with doubts and fears, with wounds of the past that may have skinned over, but which smart when they are touched. And when this occurs to us, let us be moved to deal kindly with him, to bid him be of good cheer, to let him understand that we are also fighting a battle and that we are together. In the speed of living, it can be hard to slow down enough to bring that level of compassion to others. It is our hope that you have developed the capacity to slow down. There are no more retreats planned for you, no more moments of espacito facilitated by someone else. Make your own, and you'll discover, like the quote, not from Knocked Up, but from the exotic Marigold Hotel, everything works out in the end. If things aren't working out, it just means you're not at the end yet. And things are working out at the moment, so we must be near the end. You are here now, in suits. Mr. Vasquez tells our 9th graders at Freshman Success that a suit doesn't suggest I'm done. Rather, it signifies I am ready. You are ready to continue the work that you have well begun here at the Hall. We are proud of where you are hopeful for where you're going, and are looking forward to welcoming you back as alumni. There's always a home for you here at the Hall. Now I will call forward Dr. Craig Sarek and Mrs. Barcella and Ms. Marquette to confer these diplomas. Ladies and gentlemen, the following young men have earned diplomas as graduates of the class of 2017. Sean Edward Anderson. Stelios Spenger Andrew. Achilles Edward Arnold. Chris Hong Aoyong. Daniel Joseph Barajas. Alexander Christopher Burbay. Jack Taylor Boych. Jordan Kijong Chin. Justin Christopher Chu. Maximilian Bliss DePady. Patrick Castro Billworth. Harrison Steele Doyle. Robert Greg Eklund III. Edward George Emery. Calvin Thomas Foss. Giancarlo Owen Donald Hackle. Elijah Kai Horwitz. Andrew William Baugh. Jacob Richard Hubbard. Dylan Patrick Kelly. Sasha Salchoy Lifsitz. Miguel Alejandro Lopez. Mitchell Wong Mariama. Lachlan Rourke McBride. Alexander Koyanaki McDonald. Jack Francis Merrigan. Julian Kamar Molina. Ryan Lawrence Murray. Jaden Anthony Newman. Jake Jare New. Montgomery Nelson Orleans. Carlos Giovanni Portillo. Christopher David Potter. Jack Chiefel Rutherford. Robert James Santos. Darnay Devon Stewart. Jeremiah Emery Sullivan. Sam Edward Sayufi. Thomas Hunter Taven. Michael Herbert Tellini. Leon Liang Tsai. Nicholas Agustin Vasquez. Daniel Jordan Vizio. Ladies and gentlemen, the class of 2017 of Stuart.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell. We will close with our class reciting the Stuart Hall Prayer, and with one last rendition of our school song, Cor de Jesu. Alumni in attendance, if you are so inclined, we would love for you to stand and join us. Gracious God, instill in each of us a bold faith, a deep respect for intellectual values, a passionate desire to serve others, especially those most in need, an instinct for building community, and a profound and honest commitment to our personal growth. May we always act with purpose and integrity. Amen. With music, or we're just going? All right. All right, 3. Yeah, let's stand. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Courageous is the more this fall to me. soit soumis. En Christmas, Seigneur, c'est venu la paix pour nous. Vous l'avez dit, notre promesse et notre espoir, notre bonheur, j'éveillerai dans mon tendresse les enfants tellement sacrés. Que de Jésus sauve le monde, que les réveils soient soumis, En vous, notre espoir se forme.